Hi, this is Rafael Raimundo Ange Rubio. Welcome to Teaching Bridges, the podcast where we explore important ideas on language education. Today, I will be talking about three key important concepts every language teacher must understand. Focus on form, the role of error, and the differences between the first language and second language learning. Let's start with focus on form. And I wonder, why should a teacher focus on form during class? The answer is because communication alone is not enough. Yes, students need to speak and interact, but they also need to refine how they speak. According to the text, the importance of focus on form, role of error, and difference between L1 and L2 learning. Focus on form means drawing learners' attention with grammatical features they are already using communicatively. In other words, students first understand meaning, and then the teacher highlights the structure behind it. This is very important because students must consciously notice language features in order to improve them. Schmidt in the 90s noticing hypothesis explained that the students cannot develop their language ability unless they pay attention to form. So, when teachers briefly pause communication to highlight grammar, pronunciation, or structure, they are helping the students turn exposure into real learning. Focus on form creates a healthy balance between fluency and accuracy. Now, let's move to the role of error. Why must proper error correction be always in a teacher's mind? It is because errors actually show that learning is happening. The text located in the resources section of this course explains that errors are part of a learner's interlanguage, which is the evolving system students build as they move towards mastery. It's also important to distinguish between slips and errors. A slip is a small mistake caused by tiredness or distraction. An error, however, shows incomplete knowledge. That difference matters. As teachers, we need to ask ourselves, should I correct this? Does interfere with communication? Can students self-correct it? Ellis in 1997 explained that learners' errors give us insight into how students process language rules. If we ignore repeated errors, they may become fossilized. But if we correct every small mistake immediately, we risk interrupting communication and lowering confidence. Effective correction is thoughtful and strategic. Finally, what is the difference between L1 learning and L2 learning? First of all, language acquisition happens naturally. Children acquire their first language through exposure during a critical developmental period. The innateness hypothesis suggests that humans are biologically prepared for this process. However, second language learning often happens later in life and under very different conditions. Although L1 and L2 learning share similarities, such as developmental stages and rule formation, they are not identical processes. Guest and Schellinger in 2008 explained that older learners rely more on cognitive strategies and previous language knowledge, which can both help and interfere with learning. To conclude, focusing on form help students improve accuracy within communication. Proper error correction guide learners as they build their interlanguage. And understanding the difference between L1 and L2 learning allows teachers to make informed methodological decisions together. These concepts strengthen our practice as language educator. That's all for today. Thank you for listening to Teaching Bridges, the podcast where we explore important ideas in language education. I hope this episode gave you helpful insight for your teaching journey. See you next time. Thank you very much.